On the Chao Phraya River, Bangkok, after heavy rains caused the water level to rise, a cruise ship approached dangerously close to the underside of a bridge. With no time to adjust, staff were forced to instruct all passengers to duck down to avoid a collision.
It's on the floor! On the floor! On the floor! Woo!
The atmosphere on board shifted from normal to tense in seconds. Some lay flat on the floor, others huddled under tables, as the distance between their heads and the bridge structure was almost zero. Fortunately, no injuries were reported. But the incident illustrates that a sudden change in water level can render all prior safety calculations meaningless. On May 17, 2018, in Ust-Kut, Irkutsk region, Russia, at the dock area of the Ossetrovsky Metal Structures plant, a truck-mounted crane was lowering the motor vessel T-63M into the Lena River. When the vessel was still about 2 meters above the water, the crane lost stability, tilted sharply, and collapsed. The moment happened very quickly, but the operator managed to jump out of the cabin before the crane fell, avoiding serious injury. According to information from the Investigative Committee of the Russian Federation in the East Siberian region, the initial cause was identified as exceeding the permitted lifting capacity, along with violations of technical procedures during the launch operation. These factors caused the entire lifting system to lose its ability to maintain balance under load. On October 10, 2015, near Alcatraz Island in San Francisco Bay, witnesses from the island and nearby tourist ferries watched a great white shark appear and hunt just a few meters from shore. The shark approached, attacked, and dragged a sea lion underwater right in the middle of the bay, creating one of the rarest predation events ever recorded in the area. The incident was considered the first recorded case of great white shark hunting behavior inside San Francisco Bay, and many believed that the El Niño phenomenon had pushed the sharks farther inland than usual. A vessel collision occurred at the entrance to the port of Pulau Bai Port on October 4, 2025, involving the tanker MT Kencana Express and the dredging vessel CDS Costa Fortune 3.
What?
As of now, PT Palindo Regional 2 Bengkulu, the company managing the port, has not been reachable for comment regarding the incident. Initial reports stated that the collision happened while Mount Kencana Express was entering the port area and struck a dredging vessel that was carrying out sediment dredging operations. As a result, the bow of the tanker was damaged, while the hull of the dredging vessel was also affected. The KSOP Bengkulu Class 2 confirmed that there were no casualties in the incident. However, both vessels sustained significant damage and were immediately handled afterward, including evacuation measures and safety inspections. On the Moe River, Tak, Thailand, a barge carrying trucks was crossing the Shui Koko River, Myanmar, when it encountered a rising tide following days of heavy rain. The rapidly increasing water pressure caused the cable connecting the two banks to break, and within seconds, the barge completely lost its balance. truck on board slid off course and plunged into the river, causing the entire structure to tilt. The barge was then swept towards the tie bank by the current, while those on board only had time to jump out before it sank completely. People along the riverbank witnessed the incident and shouted warnings, helping the 2 people on the barge to escape safely. The boat continued to move, but the driver was unresponsive. From the ferry, people began to realize something was wrong as the boat veered off course without any sign of correction. The driver appeared to have lost consciousness at the wheel, and no one on board could regain control of the vessel. Everything unfolded slowly and dangerously. The boat drifted freely, heading into a situation where a collision could occur at any moment. Witnesses could only call for emergency services, as there was no way to reach the scene quickly enough to intervene. After the collision, several people, even a dog, could be seen crawling out of the water, indicating that things had come very close to a much more serious accident. It's unclear what the driver's problem was, but it's always best to have someone on board in case something like this happens. Have you ever been in a boat or jet ski accident? On the afternoon of November 2nd, 2013, on the River Lynn in Devon, Mark Hardingham and a group of 7 people were navigating rapids when he lost direction, entering a section of powerful water flow. His kayak was forced upright, his body became trapped vertically, and his head was pushed underwater by the force of the current. This was no longer a normal capsizing situation. He could not free himself.
Get up on top. Can you jump over onto, can you jump on that rock, Shix?
Yeah, I'm onto that.
Keep him tight there. Right. Pop your spray deck! I've got him. Yep, let him go, Pete.
Within just a few short seconds, the others immediately moved in, held the kayak steady, pulled him free from the trapped position, and brought him back to the surface before it was too late. The entire moment was captured on a GoPro, clearly showing how dangerous moving water can become when the current holds you in place. In 2019, at Sunny Cove in Resurrection Bay near Seward, Alaska, a guided kayaking group suddenly encountered a pod of orca whales. Not from a distance, the whales swam directly into the cove and headed straight toward the group, gliding beneath the water right beside the small kayaks.
There he is.
Although incidents involving orcas posing a danger to boats have only occurred in certain regions, and there are no recorded cases of wild orcas attacking humans in nature, The animals were still incredibly majestic, and the group felt honored to paddle alongside them. During bridge construction in Prayagraj, India, a trailer carrying a bridge girder tipped over while climbing onto a temporary bridge, causing the heavy beam at the rear to slide off its supports and fall directly into the Ganges River. The moment happened very quickly. People nearby only had enough time to move away as the massive concrete structure came crashing down right in front of them. The girder hit the water with tremendous force, but fortunately it did not strike anyone, avoiding what could have been a major disaster. The incident occurred during the construction of a 6-lane bridge project stretching nearly 10 kilometers, which had already faced multiple delays due to technical and scheduling issues. As part of the HTA 2022 Navy Open Day at the Lumut Naval Base in Malaysia, a warship from the Royal Malaysian Navy was carrying out a target interception exercise when it lost control and collided directly with the KD Laksamana Tan Pusma. The collision was not high speed, but it was enough to tear a hole measuring about 2 by 1 meters in the hull, while the bow of the other vessel was visibly dented. The incident happened right in front of spectators watching the demonstration, at a moment when everything was supposed to be executed with precision. Fortunately, there were no casualties or injuries, and the event continued as planned. The Royal Malaysian Navy later formed an investigation team to determine the cause, which was initially believed to be related to a loss of control during the maneuver. On October 18, 2021, in Guayaquil, Ecuador, the 3-masted sailing ship Cisne Branco of the Brazilian Navy was swept off course by the current of the Rio Guayas and collided with the pedestrian bridge connecting the port to Sante Island.
Venga, todos afuera. Ahí se va a dar. Qué cagada, mira eso. Pucha, mira eso.
Puta, qué cagada.
Vamos,
Qué cagada, qué cagada, qué cagada.
Abandona, abandona, abandona.
Le va a caer en el remolcador, le va a caer en el remolcador, loco.
No,
Qué cagada.
Se quedó varado ahí.
¿Sabes qué?
Qué vaina,
Esto es
loco.
producto de un imbécil que se le ocurrió
Qué
poner
locura.
aquí esto. Este paso aquí, a Santay. Este es el estúpido de Correa que tuvo una mala idea y nos faltaba un imbécil a
When tugboats were deployed to help manage the situation, the incident suddenly became even more complicated. While still connected to the larger vessel, one small tugboat unexpectedly lost stability and capsized in the river, throwing part of the crew into the water. Everything happened back to back, with no pause between the two incidents. Fortunately, the crew members on the tugboat managed to escape safely.
The Grey River estuary rises after heavy rains, where river water and sea waves collide, creating unstable walls of water. At Greymouth, New Zealand, 2 fishing boats chose to leave port just as the current peaked. As they entered the estuary, their hulls began to be lifted and lowered repeatedly with each wave, at times almost disappearing behind towering vertical waves. The 2 boats were forced to maintain their course and speed, accepting the challenge of navigating through turbulent waters where a single misstep would be enough to capsize.
The ship lost stability while lifting a container onto the vessel, causing it to tilt to one side. The container being lifted contained oil-based paints or chemicals. When the ship capsized, a large amount of these chemicals spilled into the sea, posing a serious environmental pollution risk in the accident area. Despite the rapid and dangerous situation, the crew members apparently managed to escape without serious injury or getting wet. At around 1 o'clock in the afternoon on February 24th, 2024, off the coast of Kunizaki-cho in the city of Toba, Mie Prefecture, Japan, a cargo vessel collided with a fishing boat operating nearby. According to reports from the Japan Coast Guard, the collision happened suddenly, leaving no time to react.
トイレに入った時に横から突っ込まれて、でガーッと船が傾きますやんか。その時に海水がトイレの中まで入ってきて、でドア開けようとしたんやけど、すぐには開かなかったんですって。でたまたまなんとか開いて、海に落ちとるお客さんいうか、その人を助けるのが一番やって言ってました。
The fishing boat, carrying 13 people, had its hull torn apart, split in two, and sank rapidly, throwing everyone on board into the sea. Within seconds, what had been a working vessel became nothing but open water. Rescue crews were dispatched immediately after the distress signal and managed to pull all 13 people from the water. However, at least one person went into cardiopulmonary arrest and had to receive emergency treatment at the scene before being transported to the hospital. Another incident also occurred in Japan, this time off the southwestern coast near Mutsure Island in Kitakyushu, where the chemical tanker Keoyoung Sun encountered trouble while anchored to avoid severe weather. Waves reaching around 3.5 meters caused the vessel to gradually tilt, forcing the crew to send out a distress signal. There were 11 people on board, including 2 South Koreans, 8 Indonesians, and 1 Chinese national. The vessel was carrying around 980 tons of acrylic acid, increasing the danger if a leak were to occur. However, at the time of reporting, no chemical spill had been recorded. Images from the scene showed the vessel listing heavily, with life rafts floating nearby and Coast Guard ships and helicopters taking part in the rescue operation. One person was confirmed to be in non-life-threatening condition, but 2 others were missing, and according to Agence France-Presse, the victims taken to the hospital later died. Initial reports suggested the incident was caused by severe weather, combined with unstable anchoring conditions. At Saint Martin in the Caribbean, the 77-meter super yacht Go Super Yacht lost control while departing the Simpson Bay Lagoon from the Ile de Sol Marina and approaching the exit channel. People at the scene captured the moment the vessel drifted directly toward the wooden dock of the yacht club.
Oh, he's gonna hit the concrete on this one. Get into the concrete now. What's going on?
The first collision was not enough to stop it. The yacht continued moving forward and struck the dock a second time before eventually being guided back toward the marina. Initial reports suggested the incident may have been related to the vessel's control system, causing steering responses to become inaccurate at a critical moment. There were no injuries, but the dock sustained damage and the area had to be cleared shortly afterward, while insurance representatives quickly arrived to assess the losses. On a river in Vietnam, the container vessel Kita Voyage 039S, operated by Orient Overseas Container Line during an international voyage, suddenly lost steering control while approaching the port area.
Lọt luôn, lọt luôn.
The vessel began swerving and drifting sharply off course, at one point nearly colliding with other cargo ships anchored ahead, before continuing to drift toward the riverbank. The safe distance almost disappeared within seconds, as the massive steel vessel no longer responded properly to control inputs. Eventually, the ship ran close to shore and became grounded near the Southport International Container Terminal area, forcing the voyage to stop. No injuries were reported, and the vessel was later brought to the Southport International Container Terminal area for handling. Near the Bargi Dam in Jabalpur, Madhya Pradesh, India, a tourist boat carrying around 30 people was suddenly hit by strong winds while moving across the lake. The small vessel lost balance, tilted sharply, and capsized, throwing all the passengers into the water within seconds. The surface of the lake turned into a chaotic scene, where many people were forced to swim on their own while wind and waves continued to affect the area. Rescue teams were quickly deployed and worked alongside local residents to bring victims back to shore. According to initial reports, at least 4 people died, while many others were rescued and taken for emergency treatment. The cause was believed to be strong winds combined with a large number of passengers on board, reducing the boat's stability when the weather changed suddenly. This woman's parents are trying to get her to date, and the father decided to take his daughter kayaking. It seems they couldn't get past the dock. I never knew getting into a kayak like that could be so difficult. Maybe next time he'll choose something else. Have you ever tried it? At Frøya, Norway, the work vessel Multi-Power, measuring about 27 meters long, collided with the twin-hull high-speed ferry Frøyfart while it was moored nearby. The impact occurred at water level, not at high speed, but it was enough to tear open part of the ferry's port side hull. Water immediately began flooding into the compartment, causing the ferry to list slightly as it gradually lost stability. On deck, railings and floor panels near the wheelhouse were also bent and ripped apart after the collision. Rescue teams quickly arrived at the scene and worked together with another support vessel to control the flooding and keep the ferry from sinking. By that evening, the situation had been stabilized, and no injuries were reported.